Lara Trump. I believe this is Eric Trump's wife. She decided to chime in, or I guess answer questions about all the anger and frustration that Republicans have. I'm sorry, MAGA Republicans have with Bad Bunny performing at the halftime of the Super Bowl because he speaks Spanish.
Who would you like to see perform at the TP USA Super Bowl halftime show? First of all, let me give a shout out to Turning Point. When Bad Bunny was announced as the Super Bowl halftime performer, which, by the way, I know a lot of owners of a lot of NFL teams. A lot of people are upset about that. I don't know what the heck the NFL was thinking with this one, but I can tell you there are a lot of people who are not happy about it. And so Turning Point was like, you know what? We're going to do our own thing. We'll have our own halftime show. We don't need Bad Bunny or any of these people. Who would I like to see perform? Tom McDonald, 100%. I think I talked about him last time. We did a Q&A episode, I believe, last week. I said I'd like to perform on stage with him, do a little karaoke sesh. Absolutely. I think he's awesome. I would love to see that happen. I feel like we have a lot of great people who we could add into this. I haven't really thought about it. This is first I've thought about it with this question. But you know what? You can throw Lara Trump in there. Yeah, that's right. Imagine how upset people on the left would be if something like that happened. It sort of makes me want to offer myself up. I have not been asked, but I'm going to offer it right now. So let's see what happens. The great news is we don't need the NFL. We don't need any of these woke losers to perform. We can have our own performance. So shout out to Turning Point for coming up with their own halftime show. I love it.
She made a little mistake there. First of all, Turning Point USA is going to have some kind of halftime show. Fine, they can have whatever halftime show they want since they, don't want to watch the regular one. I don't care about that. Problem that Lara Trump made was offering herself up to be one of the performers at the Turning Point USA halftime show. Because, just for shits and gigs, people started remembering. Maybe that was the problem. People began to remember Lara Trump and her singing career that she tried to launch.
Hey, I stand my ground, and I won't back down until I know what's right. I got to from life in a world that keeps on pushing me around. Gonna stand my ground.
Bring on Bad Bunny, please. Matter of fact, that's just a recap of what is that she always used to do and performing at these hoity-toity elitist events. All those populists in that room, all those multimillionaires standing there listening to her scream into the microphone. So some folks began to make fun of her because when you set yourself up for something like that and you're a hateful person, that tends to be what happens on the internet.
Without your bravery, we're all out of luck. No, this can't be denied. You gotta be special. It takes a lot to put your last and everybody first.
So swiftly as you could imagine, she was made fun of. And because she cares about what everyone thinks, despite how hateful she is to so many people, she ended up responding to that too after putting herself out there to be the one to perform at the TP USA halftime show that the left would go crazy over.
I heard that there are a lot of people out there on the left who are melting down and very upset about the possibility that I might be performing at the halftime show for the Super Bowl for Turning Point USA. While my joking offer, which was clearly a comical and joking offer, still stands to perform. I've not been asked in any formal way to perform for the Turning Point halftime show for the Super Bowl, but everybody out there continue getting upset about it.
She goes, it was obviously a joking submission of me potentially performing at the halftime show at TP USA. But it still stands. Maybe I can still, I haven't had an official invite yet, but I will do it. Would you do it or are you just joking? It can't be both, man. You can't say that you both were joking about it at the time just to probably diffuse the situation of people going, oh my God, please no, to then you also really actually wanting to perform at TP USA's halftime performance to replace Bad Bunny. But things got worse. Because someone noticed this in that video as she was talking about how it was all a joke and all these lefties are flipping out. He said, "What the hell is this?" I'm not sure if you guys noticed it. For some reason, I didn't notice it either. And it's not just the eyebrows; it's the eyelids. And I don't know anything about cosmetic surgeries. I don't know anything about what people do with eyelids and noses and ears and cheeks and foreheads and bridges and lips and chins. I don't know any of this stuff. So I looked it up. In fact, I had to even look up how to pronounce it. Blepharoplasty. Blepharoplasty. It's a surgical procedure that involves removing excess skin, fat, and muscle from the upper and or lower eyelids. And apparently, when you do too much of it, which as people have talked about Mar-a-Lago face, how it invades anyone that's surrounding Donald Trump and this MAGA fascist party, they start looking like odd semi-humans and walk around and act like they're above and better than everyone else. So you know what I did? I did some research. This is how I think. I'm sorry if you guys don't go out on my main mindset. I want you guys to learn also what I learned, because you know what? There's still hope for Lara Trump. Not for the singing, but potentially for the eyelids.
I've been an oculoplastic surgeon specializing in cosmetic eyelid surgery for over 30 years. I often see patients who are unhappy with their previous upper eyelid blepharoplasty results. A common issue is that they still look tired due to hollowness in the upper eyelids caused by aggressive removal of fat. Instead of looking more youthful, they have a sunken appearance that can make them look older. Taking a step back, I can say that in my practice, during my initial consultation, I look at your bone structure as well as the adjacent fat, which informs my surgical planning. When I see a patient who has had surgery elsewhere and they have upper eyelid hollowing, my go-to solution is to place hyaluronic acid filler at the bone level to improve the appearance. Fat grafting is also an option. However, fat grafting is subject to significant loss of the grafted fat, lumpiness, as well as scar tissue.
That sucks. So to try and, I guess, open your eyes up more or lose the fattiness of your eyelids, sometimes people take out too much. Then they got to reinsert more fat or some other kind of substance. It's like a recycling process, except it's very unnatural. But at least the good news is she can always go to Dr. Prasad for a procedure to get things back straight, since now people have noticed that about her eyelids too. A lot of people get procedures. Doesn't matter their political affiliation. Doesn't matter if they're, Nepo people like Lara Trump is. It doesn't matter. In general, we're always chasing these beauty standards, these unfair and all these beauty standards that many of these lefties, these libs like to say is manufactured by men in this world. The problem is when you're an ass and when you say things like this, you open yourself up to be the person who gets made fun of, even though you're the person who is in this position of power and actually advocates, killing people that you just don't like.
I don't know what you tell the people that live at the southern border. I guess they better arm up and get guns and be ready. And maybe they're going to have to start taking matters into their own hands. It should never happen. These people should never make this dangerous journey here.
She's not a good person. So stop putting yourself out there if you don't want to get ridiculed. If you want to keep talking about someone shouldn't have the right to perform at a halftime show, and then you keep putting yourself out there and in your eyelids, how about you don't advocate that people shoot people that are coming across and making that treacherous journey that are obviously refugees from a worse situation? Maybe not be that person. I started feeling bad about making fun of her. I'm sorry. I started feeling bad about making fun of her. And I was like, you know what? I have to remember who it is that we're talking about here. I'm going to show you guys one more instance of who Lara Trump is and the types of things she wants you guys to do while she sits in her ivory tower and talks about singing badly at a halftime show.
These like acts of terrorism to me. Then we have, death threats this guy is facing. What has he done that's so bad? What has he done that deserves that level of rage and hatred? Can you tell me?
Absolutely nothing, Sean. And that's the crazy part. This is why the approval rating of the Democrat Party is somewhere around 31%. It's why it's no longer cool to be a Democrat. Everybody's come over to the Republican Party because this stuff is just pure lunacy. And I'll tell you one thing. Once upon a time, it used to be that there was a bipartisan goal of rooting out fraud, waste, and abuse, that everybody could agree on that until, of course, the person who was actually rooting out the fraud, waste, and abuse was Donald Trump, and alongside of him, Elon Musk. And now if you notice, they're employing the exact same, attack him and take him down at all costs and any cost tactics that they used against Donald Trump. They're attacking his character. They've called him a Nazi. They're going after his businesses. They're vandalizing property. They're doing any and everything they can to this man. And it's really horrific to see, because what is Elon getting for all of this? Much like Donald Trump, he didn't need this job, Sean. He's not taking a salary. It's actually laughable every time you hear these people on the left say Elon's enriching himself and his friends. You just talked about it. This guy is losing money because of what he's doing, but he understands the importance of this moment. We cannot continue in perpetuity spending the way we are. We cannot survive as a country. So people ought to be kissing the feet of Elon Musk and Donald Trump for being the two people to actually do this.
Elitists, you plebes, all you regular commoners out there should be kissing the feet of Donald Trump and Elon Musk for taking your money, misusing it, and pocketing it themselves. Kiss their feet. Lara Trump.